was a period when motorcycles were not merely ridden, they were deeply felt. The Yamaha TZR250 was one of those rare gems that made the hearts of an entire generation beat significantly faster. Light, fierce, and with that unmistakable two-stroke sound, it was the dream of many and the companion of a few lucky ones. Today, almost extinct, it remains a legend. What made it so special? Let's relive its history. To fully comprehend the origins of the Yamaha TZR250, one must initially delve into the realm of competitive racing. During the 1970s and 1980s, Yamaha not only actively participated in the 250 cubic centimeters World Championship, but also achieved dominance in the TC250 category. It was a motorcycle that was greatly feared on the racing circuits, ridden by legendary figures who consistently pushed it to the absolute limit in every single turn. Two-stroke motorcycles were undeniably the reigning queens of velocity, and Yamaha possessed a highly successful formula. However, there was a significant issue. Everyday motorcycle enthusiasts observed those racing machines and pondered, why can't we have something akin to that for regular street use? Naturally, Yamaha was unable to overlook that increasing demand. Consequently, in the year 1986, Yamaha's highly skilled engineers made the strategic decision to take decisive action. Incorporate all the knowledge and insights acquired on the racing track into a street-legal configuration. The outcome was the TZR250.1 KT. This was the inaugural generation of a series that would go on to define an entire era, lightweight, rapid, and aggressive, with racing DNA infused into every single bolt. Yamaha not only introduced a motorcycle, but they also made a profound declaration of intent. If you aspired to experience the sensation of being a Grand Prix rider on the street, this was unequivocally your machine. The Yamaha TZR KT emerged to transform the rules of the game. Outfitted with a parallel twin-cylinder two-stroke engine, it produced an intense 50 horsepower, a statistic that, in a motorcycle weighing merely 126 kilograms, rendered it an authentic projectile. However, it was not solely the power that rendered it extraordinary, it was its overall behavior. Yamaha directly harnessed the experience gained from their racing motorcycle, the TZ250, and meticulously applied it to the TZR. From the slender and exceptionally lightweight chassis to its assertive riding posture, every aspect of this motorcycle exuded genuine racing heritage. However, the real technological marvel was the integrated power valve system, known as the Yamaha Power Valve System. A sophisticated system that meticulously regulated the opening of the exhaust valve based on the engine's revolutions per minute. The result? An engine that delivered power in a more progressive manner, providing substantial thrust at lower revs and an intense, brutal kick when you surpassed 7,000 RPM. It was a motorcycle that made you feel like a professional rider on every curve. Its lightweight construction transformed it into a formidable weapon on winding mountain roads, where it could effortlessly embarrass much larger and more powerful motorcycles thanks to its exceptionally low center of gravity and highly agile chassis. It felt as though it was an extension of the rider's own body. Yamaha was well aware that it had crafted something truly special, yet it didn't simply settle for that. The TZR250 was merely the beginning of an evolution that would transform this motorcycle into something even more exhilarating in the years to come. In the year 1988, Yamaha significantly elevated the stakes with the introduction of the TZR-XT, an evolution that further enhanced the already successful formula of its predecessor. The brand meticulously considered the rider's demands and thoughtfully implemented a series of substantial improvements that propelled this remarkable machine to an entirely new level. The parallel twin-cylinder two-stroke engine underwent modifications in the intake system and in the management of the IPBS system, which significantly enhanced power delivery and responsiveness throughout the entire rev range. The primary objective was to render it even more explosive at elevated RPM, without compromising handling capabilities at low and mid-range speeds. Furthermore, Yamaha meticulously optimized the cooling system, significantly reducing the risk of overheating during intense riding conditions. However, it was not solely the engine that experienced enhancements. The Deltavox aluminum chassis underwent reinforcement to provide increased rigidity, thereby improving stability in high-speed corners and making the motorcycle feel even more precise and dependable at elevated velocities. The front suspension system experienced a thorough revision with updated adjustments to the telescopic fork, whereas the rear shock absorber was also improved to more effectively absorb road irregularities without diminishing the sporty sensation. The braking system also underwent significant evolution, featuring larger diameter discs and more efficient calipers, which permitted more powerful and progressively responsive braking. All of these enhancements transformed the XT into an even more well-balanced machine, seamlessly combining agility with superior stability. The concept remained unchanged, yet it was more meticulously refined. Yamaha achieved an ideal equilibrium between aggressive power and precise control, enabling the TZR250 XT to embody both the ferocity of a beast on the open road and the precision of a surgical instrument on the racing track. However, during the period when Yamaha was diligently refining its formula, the competition was far from inactive. Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki were meticulously honing their own machines, gearing up to contest the dominance of the TZR250. Between the years 1989 and 1991, Yamaha made the bold decision to embrace a groundbreaking concept. They pondered profoundly, contemplating the potential of elevating the TZR250 to an even more exceptional level with an innovative configuration never before seen on a street motorcycle. Consequently, the TZR MA emerged in the year 1989, a machine that directly integrated cutting-edge technology from the 500cc MotoGP, particularly from the Yamaha TZR 500. The most extraordinary feature of this version was its exhaust system exiting through the tail, something unprecedented in a mass-produced motorcycle. However, it was not merely a question of aesthetics or sound, even though the thunderous roar of those elevated exhausts was truly magnificent. This innovative design contributed significantly to centralizing the masses and enhancing weight distribution, thereby rendering the motorcycle even more stable and balanced when navigating corners. The engine continued to be a two-stroke parallel twin configuration, yet with modifications that enabled it to provide a significantly more aggressive response throughout the entire range of revolutions. The IPVS Yamaha Power Valve System technology underwent a substantial evolution by optimizing the operational functionality of the exhaust valves to ensure a considerably smoother transition between the lower and higher engine revolutions. Furthermore, Yamaha undertook a comprehensive revision of the Delta Box frame, enhancing its rigidity while simultaneously reducing its weight, which facilitated even more precise and accurate handling. The suspension system also saw significant improvements, featuring a more advanced and sophisticated front fork alongside an adjustable rear shock absorber. These enhancements made the TZR253 MA feel remarkably akin to a genuine racing motorcycle in every single turn. What truly made this iteration legendary was its distinct character. At lower engine revolutions, it stayed tame and composed, but once you passed 7,000 RPM, it turned into a missile with a powerful and vigorous power delivery. The combination of the high-pitched exhaust sound with the explosive power of the engine made riding it an exceptionally unique and distinctive experience. Nevertheless, despite the fact that the MA was indeed an engineering marvel and ranked among the most groundbreaking 250cc motorcycles ever constructed, Yamaha still held a hidden advantage and was on the verge of unveiling the ultimate version of the TZR250. In the year 1991, Yamaha elevated the TZR250 to a new echelon with the introduction of the TC, a machine that epitomized the pinnacle of 250cc two-stroke engine development. The most revolutionary alteration was its brand new 250cc B-twin engine, a configuration directly influenced by Grand Prix racing motorcycles. Prior to this, the TZR250 had been utilizing parallel twin-cylinder engines, but Yamaha understood that the future was in the B configuration, which provided superior power delivery, reduced vibration, and enhanced weight distribution. However, that was not the entirety of it. The 315 boasted an even lighter and more rigid Deltavox aluminum chassis, coupled with a more sophisticated suspension system engineered to deliver surgical precision in each and every turn. This showed Yamaha aimed not just to boost the TZR's straight-line speed, but also to make it the top motorcycle in its class for handling and stability. The aerodynamics underwent further evolution with a more efficient and aggressively styled fairing, drawing inspiration from the renowned ZR500 racing motorcycle. Essentially, the 315 represented the closest experience one could achieve to riding an authentic racing motorcycle on public roads. With an engine that roared with fierce intensity and agility that put many larger motorcycles to shame, the power-to-weight ratio was astonishingly absurd. Weighing merely 130 kilograms and boasting more than 50 horsepower, this machine could accelerate with a level of brutality that made anyone break into a sweat. In the hands of a seasoned and experienced rider, it possessed the remarkable capability to outclass and outperform larger displacement motorcycles on winding and twisting roads. Nonetheless, even though the TZR250 315 epitomized the pinnacle of evolution for the 250T, its era was ultimately limited in duration. The anti-pollution regulations were progressively becoming increasingly stringent, and manufacturers were gradually starting to phase out two-stroke engines. The golden era of the 250 cubic centimeters was inevitably drawing to a conclusion. Still, Yamaha wasn't ready to let it vanish without a fight. The TZR250 might not have been the fastest or most extreme, but it had a great balance of agility, power, and reliability. So, what exactly transpired? Why did such an extraordinary motorcycle vanish from the face of the earth? The answer is straightforward, yet undeniably tragic. Emission regulations. Two-stroke motorcycles were truly remarkable in terms of performance, yet they were also an environmental nightmare. These machines burned oil in conjunction with gasoline, releasing a trail of blue smoke that smelled like glory to motorcycle enthusiasts, but like pollution to regulators. During the 1990s, regulatory standards became significantly stricter, particularly in regions such as Japan and Europe. It became increasingly challenging to justify the continued production of T engines for street usage. Meanwhile, advances in four-stroke engines were progressing significantly. These engines were more efficient, environmentally cleaner, and offered a more consistent and predictable power delivery. The prominent motorcycle brands commenced redirecting their focus, concentrating on the development of more accessible and environmentally friendly four-stroke sports motorcycles. By the year 1996, Yamaha ceased the production of the TZR250. It was a poignant moment for the enthusiasts of the 250T as it signified the conclusion of a legendary era. Nevertheless, Yamaha was not the only company to suffer as a result of this transition. Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki were also similarly forced to cease production of their 250 two-stroke models, leaving behind a segment that had been iconic during the 1980s and 1990s. The last remaining units of the TZR250 persisted as relics, transforming into cult objects for motorcycle enthusiasts. Over the course of many years, these motorcycles transitioned from being easily accessible machines for young and aspiring riders to authentic collector's items with prices that are increasingly higher in the second-hand marketplace. In present times, locating a TZR250 that is in excellent condition presents a significant challenge. Numerous units have been mishandled, altered, or even disassembled for components, and those that remain in pristine condition are sold at exorbitant prices. Despite its disappearance from dealerships, its enduring legacy continues to thrive. The TZR250 was not merely one of the finest sports motorcycles of its era, it also left a lasting and indelible impression on the annals of motorcycling history.